Hey, what's up guys, Rackals here. Today we're going to be talking about how I got an impossibly high kill streak in Quakecraft. So if you go onto Plank, one of the statistics that's shown that you can see is highest kill streak, and in my case it's 627. Now you might look at that and immediately go, well obviously the highest that it should be able to go is 25 because that's how many kills it takes to win a game of Quake. But then you remember that there's teams mode, so that number goes up to 100 if you were boosting or if your entire team left, I guess, and you just got lucky enough that you never died. But since teams is an 8v8, you can technically bump the highest possible kill streak up to a 107 by having the entire other team line up and shoot them all while you're on 99. This would only be possible by boosting, so I wouldn't recommend doing this because you could get banned for it. Obviously, my kill streak is way higher than anything you can get with those two methods. The next thing you might think of is that if you went multiple games in a row without dying, but for one reason or another, the way the highest kill streak is coded is that it resets at the end of every game. So even if you win 2 solo games in a row with godlikes, you will only get a highest kill streak of 25 instead of 50. For the past several months, admins have been quietly making changes to Quakecraft without making any sort of official announcement or forum post about it. These mostly include minor changes, but there have been some bug fixes that we've noticed, like hats that were previously unpurchasable are now fixed, and a couple spawn points have been moved. The reason I bring that up is because I believe the reason that this happened is a side effect of one of those updates that they were working on. Essentially, a couple months ago, there was a span of a few hours where teams' Quakecraft games simply wouldn't end. After you got 100, every other kill you got, it kept flashing up with the "you win" text repeatedly for every single time your team got a kill, and fireworks would go off. But the actual kill counter itself would keep on climbing. This might seem great at first glance, but for anyone who plays a lot of Quake, you would know that if you leave a game, none of your statistics actually save. And since these games never end, you're basically forced to leave them and therefore lose any stats that you might gain. However, for whatever reason, this isn't true with a couple select stats, namely godlikes and, of course, highest kill streak. So we played through the game and I died a couple times during the first 100 kills, but that doesn't really matter because after a while, people realized what was going on and they all just left, except for this one random non on the other team who was completely AFK. And the weird thing about this is that Quake actually has an anti-AFK system, and after 30 seconds of standing still, it'll bring up an alarm just like many other games that warns you that it's gonna kick you in 10 seconds if you don't move. And despite this, for whatever reason, this guy just did not get kicked. I could probably say that this is another side effect of whatever the admins were doing, although to begin with, that's really only just an assumption of why this happened in the first place. It's not really confirmed or anything, and you can probably understand the rest from there, to be honest. This poor man was AFK, and we just sat there and farmed him for probably about 2 hours, I think it took, because there was 3 of us all going for high kill streaks and only one AFK guy to go between us. And of course, every time you kill him, he jumps to a different spawn point, so it's not like you can just stand there and hold right click for the whole 2 hours. Initially, I really wanted to try to go for 1,000, but the longer that it went on, the more unappealing it became, because seriously, it was really boring to do. That being said, I was feeling dedicated enough to bother to go through the hassle of getting to 1,000 just because I think that would be super cool. But then a couple hours in, he suddenly got kicked for AFK, and we had no more enemies to shoot. But the game still didn't end. It was just us with no enemies, stuck forever in a never-ending game of Quakecraft. Eventually we left, and obviously we couldn't view the replay because the game technically never ended. In the replay system, when you hover over a game, it either tells you how long the game was, or if it's not over yet, how long it's been going for. So I went back and checked my /games a few times over the next couple days, and it literally never ended. It physically said game started 2 days ago. Out of the 3 of us that were all going for the kill streak, I had the highest with 627, my friend Koaz ended off with 551, and Amethyst finished with 355. All of these are obviously illegal because, as I said, the highest should technically be 107 if you're boosting, but the most crazy part of this is these aren't actually world records, and the world records themselves were not set on the day that this bug occurred. To my knowledge, the highest kill streak that anybody has is 05 with a kill streak of 2,475. Coming in at second place is Squirrelsome with a kill streak of 1,685, and coming in at third is the admin, Caesar, with 1,621. But like I said, this is just as far as I know. The only reason I even know of players like O5 and Squirrelsome is because they brought it up in a forums section one time. Not to mention, O5 doesn't even have 2,475 kills at all. He has a higher highest kill streak than he does kills. So how did these happen? Well, to be honest, I have no idea. I guess you could call it a Quakecraft mystery. My best bet would be some sort of admin game, because every once in a while, the admins have been known to make everlasting Quakecraft games, kind of like the bug that happened to Teams, except intentionally, where they like to mess around with stuff like 0.005 second triggers and stuff like that. And I would assume that these kill streaks are a side effect of those, because obviously the stats aren't meant to save, but for whatever reason, the highest kill streak stat does. But yeah, hopefully that explains my Quakecraft mystery. If you guys found this interesting, be sure to drop a like and a sub. I want to really quickly mention Chasm for giving me the idea for this video. He actually made a very similar video recently about his statistics on bedwars. And if the topic of illegal stats on Hypixel games interests you, I can also link a video by a guy named 0x26e. He made a pretty cool video about people who have illegal stats in Smash Heroes. I'll leave links to both of their videos in the description somewhere. But yeah, hopefully I explained everything well enough that you understood. If you have any other questions about my stats or just Quake in general, I guess, be sure to leave a comment and I'll get back to you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.